My name's Sal, and this is Sal's Garage. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Today I'm going to be talking about how much money I spent on the F-Type, the Jaguar F-Type V6S model. First of all, we bought the car for $29,000 used with 69,000 miles on the clock, or 68,000 miles, I can't really remember, but we've been enjoying it thoroughly, and it's a great buy for under $30,000. You get a lot of car for the money. So let's start with the exhaust setup and how much did I spend on that total. So I have a list right here that I'm kind of reading off of, and I'm gonna show you some footage of each thing that's been done to the car, and we'll kind of go from there. First thing is the modified OEM muffler. That cost $60, and that was done at half at an exhaust shop and the other half by me. I cut open the muffler and cut out the internal resonators inside the muffler, and then I had the muffler shop weld everything back together and weld in some straight pipes. So the muffler shop only charged $60 for that, and I did the cutting myself. If you want to do this yourself, it's probably going to cost maybe $150 to $200 to have a shop do it for you, and it might be hard to find a place that would be willing to do it for you because it's an F-Type and nobody wants to be messing around with it. So find a good mechanic or a welder that you trust or that you're friends with and see if they can do it for you. Next thing is the X pipe. Basically in the mid pipe there's a resonator, and what you do is you delete the resonator and add an X pipe in there to kind of even out the exhaust flow. It gives it a little bit higher pitch, but not raspy at all. It's more of a nice exotic tone with a little bit of a higher pitch, almost like a race car or Formula One car. I think the X-Pipe is totally worth it for only $20 and $80 at the muffler shop for them to weld it in. Next thing is Decat OEM downpipe. That was free, not by choice. I had to decat it because what had happened was the OEM downpipes, the catalytic converters kind of destroyed themselves, so we basically just decatted them for free. But I did pay $800 for used cats on eBay, a set of 2, and that cost $800 for used cats. $800 is not bad. Swap those in when it's time for smog and you need to pass. Otherwise, you can run with the catless downpipes for every 2 years here in California before it's time to switch it out for smog and pass. Ever since we did the catless downpipes and straight pipes pretty much the whole way down aside from the X pipe, it was way too loud and a little too raspy for my taste. So we went and bought some Total Flow mufflers for $40. They're $20 each. You need 2 of them, and what that does is they're these tiny mufflers that go somewhere in the mid pipe. I put them before the X pipe, kind of right on the actual downpipe itself, the OEM downpipes, and what that does is it decrease the volume by, I'd say, like 10 to 15%, which is just enough. It's still really loud when you're on it, but it wasn't like ear-piercingly loud like it was before when it was pretty much just a straight pipe from the headers down. That helped a lot with noise levels. No drone, sounds really good still. I paid my muffler shop right around $80 for them to weld it in, both of them. Supercharger wind mod. That was $140 by SC Foster Mods, I think is what they're called. And what that does is it's basically this tube that you connect from the intake all the way through the firewall of your car and into the cabin, so you get more supercharger whine noise inside of the cabin. The Mina Gallery lower intake that I had installed also was $200, and with this combination you're going to get all of the supercharger whine that you could possibly want. I don't know, some people didn't really like it, some people hate it. I personally think that it's good to personalize your car and make it however you want. I'm just sharing it with you guys. It's up to you guys to kind of make your opinions and choices on what you want to modify your car. But overall, I think it helps the driving experience having this supercharger whine or forced induction noise. Whenever you accelerate, it sounds really good, and it sounds, again, unique. Like, I don't know, you don't hear that from a car every day. So we're going to move on to is actual performance mods. So for actual performance mods, you're looking at Velocity AP transmission tune, which was $1,000, and this makes an actual big difference in the performance of the car. It just shifts so much faster. It raises the rev limiter all the way to 7,500 RPM, and with this car, it just seems to build power as you rev all the way, as you can increase your RPMs. So all the way to 7,500, if you can make it that high, it really feels like it's building more and more power, and it does make a difference. On my 0 to 60 times, I dropped 0.2 of a second. So 0.2 of a second is a lot for a transmission tune. That's very impressive. Next thing is the Velocity AP engine tune or ECU tune. That one paired with the crank pulley. I bought that during the Black Friday sale for $1,400 combo, and that makes a big difference too. It brings your horsepower from 380 stock for the V6S model all the way to 450 horsepower, and you can definitely feel it. It also brings the torque up considerably. So I believe the torque is around 330 stock. It brings the torque like well above into the 400s. So you feel that difference. It's a great modification, a good first modification to do if you're trying to target performance, is the Velocity AP tune and crank pulley. I would avoid the supercharger pulley, just because on the V6 model at least, it doesn't really give you any gains. If it does, it's very minimal and it's a very difficult install to do. So you're better off avoiding the supercharger pulley and just go straight for the crank pulley. I put R1 Concept drilled and slotted rotors, and all four sides was $350 total, which was a good deal for drilled and slotted rotors. They're a little heavier than the OEM rotors, but they look much better, and really I was going for looks and performance because with drilled rotors, it just dissipates heat better, so you get better braking. For brake pads, I had changed them to ceramic brake pads from EBC. EBC ceramic brake pads, they're called Red Stuff, and they're red brake pads, so that matches the calipers pretty nicely. They perform well, similar to OEM. I couldn't really tell the difference. They feel the same as OEM, but with a lot less brake dust and no noise, no squeaking sounds. So that's it for engine performance mods and exhaust mods so far. Let's move on to exterior mods of how did I improve the look of the car. Let's start with the mirror caps. I wrapped the mirror caps black using Avery Dennison gloss black vinyl wrap. It was about $15 for a 5-foot roll, and I did that myself. So I have a lot of videos and DIYs on how I've done most of these things. If you want to check my channel out and take a look at those videos, I'd appreciate it. The mirror caps, I think, make a good difference in terms of, you know, matching the black and white theme of the car and giving it a cleaner look. Another good mod for the exterior is window tint. We went with 35% ceramic window tint. It cost about $200 at at a shop in Fremont here called Jet Black Tint. They had some kind of promotion going on, some kind of online coupon, so I took advantage of it for 200 bucks. Ceramic tint, that's a pretty good deal. They also included the visor strip at the top, the 6-inch visor strip, which I believe also makes a difference when I'm driving. I don't have to put my tiny those little sun visors. They don't really do anything, but these the actual tint visor actually does better than the actual sun visor on the F-Type because they're so small. So we plasti dipped the chrome badges to kind of match the black and white theme of the car again. You know, I'm not a big fan of chrome, so if I can delete it at any time, I always will. And plasti dip is cheap and easy to do, $5 for a can. Can't really beat that. Underglow lighting, another controversial mod. Again, I just like personalizing my car and making it look different from everyone else's. There's really no other F-Type out there that has this mod, so I figured why not, you know, let's be the first one to do it. And I like that you can adjust the lights, the color of them. You can turn them off if you don't want them on. You can turn them on whenever you want. So really, it's a win-win for me. It's easy to install. It's only $50, and I think that it's a good way to personalize your car and add a little bit of character to it. It already looks great as it is, right? So you can just turn it off if you get sick of tired of it, and that's what I do sometimes if I don't feel like it. But whenever I go to a car meet or a car show, if you want to turn it on, why not? Next thing is lowering springs, Eibach lowering springs. This is one of my favorite exterior mods because I like the look of a lowered car. The Eibach lowering springs lowers it about 20 to 25 millimeters. It looks better lowered, and it also performs better. I noticed a big difference in terms of handling. Less body roll, and just like when you shift the car, when you accelerate, it doesn't feel like it's squatting or making all these different movements that you wouldn't want a car to make when you're accelerating or making turns at higher speeds. So builds more confidence into the car, and for lowering springs, that's not bad. The lowering springs from Eibach, I paid $280 for it, and I think it's really well worth it. I installed it myself. Along with the lowering springs, we put 15 millimeter spacers on the car. The 15 millimeter spacers are $100, and also very good mod for just improving the stance and the look of the car and kind of the fitment of the wheels. The stock OEM 20-inch Tornado wheels were a little too sunken into the arches, those wide arches of the F-Type. So you want to make them poke out a little. 15 millimeters is just the right amount without rubbing. I never had any issues with rubbing or anything. So if you want a good number for spacers, 15 millimeters is the way to go. Next mod is the hood vents. For some reason my car had hood vents that were closed and not functional. I don't really like the look of those. I like the look of the open vents, and I like just having the ability to kind of dissipate heat better. So I wanted to go with the OEM hood vents on the base model F-Type. It's kind of weird going from a higher end model to a base model part, but the base model part has open hood vents, and it dissipates heat better. Every time I put my hand over it, I can feel a lot of heat coming out. And you know, these cars have issues with coolant leaks and plastic pieces breaking because of heat. So anytime you can dissipate heat, you know, that's what I do. I remove the engine cover, I put in open vents, and you can feel a lot of heat getting dissipated from the engine. So I think it makes a big difference. I think it looks better. You can actually see the supercharger logo in the engine, so it just looks more aggressive, and when people look underneath, they know there's a beast of an engine underneath that hood. I bought them on eBay for $70 used from just a random person on eBay. Next thing is red seat belts. Great interior mod to add some contrast to the boring black interior. Red seat belts was $150, $75 each, so $150 total, and I did the install myself. I have a video on how to do that, and it's very easy to do. It's very easy install. So if you want to spice up the look of your interior, you don't want to be spending too much on like reupholstering your leather or doing anything with your stitching. I think seat belts is a good way to go. You can choose any color you want. The website that I went with was Safety Restore, and they have so many different colors. I went with Ferrari red because you know, the brake calipers were red, so I just wanted to match that. And I think it turned out great, and it was easy to do for $150. Next thing is for interior, we put LED lighting on the footwells. The footwells come with some yellow halogen ugly lighting, and we wanted to modernize and kind of make it look more streamlined because all the other lighting, including the dome lights, are LED bright white. So I wanted the footwells to match, and I think that makes a big difference. Those were $2 each, and you need 2 of them, so $4 total for the footwell LED lighting. I also have a video on how to do that. Very easy install. We also installed the puddle lights with the Jaguar logo for each side or each door. Since it's a coupe, you only need 2 of them. I paid $15 total, and I think it's a nice mod. Whenever you open your car or open the door, you'll see that logo shining. It's pretty nice for $15, not bad. And then I also have a Stow and Show license plate holder. It's removable. It's pretty easy. You just have this little pin that pulls in and out, and it's $80 for that one. And I just like being able to remove the license plate from the front whenever you want to take pictures, and then you can put it back on whenever you need, because here in California you need to have it. All right, now we're on to the maintenance part of the car, and pretty ironic because usually I always preach maintenance over mods, and that's actually the first thing I did. The first thing I did before any of these mods was maintenance, so I don't know why I put it last here, but definitely maintenance before mods. So for maintenance, I did spark plugs, $75 for a full set of 6 of them, and I have a video on how to do that. Not too difficult, just if you have some general basic hand tools, I think you can do this. It's not too hard, and I think it'll make a difference for if you're gonna plan to tune your car or push some more power. I think it's good to put fresh spark plugs in there for sure. I didn't really feel any difference after the fact, but it's more peace of mind thing. For $75, not bad at all. Next thing is the coolant expansion tank. That one was $200 because the coolant itself is $90, and then the tank itself is about $110 is what I paid. So I have a video on that. The coolant expansion tank cracked, so I had to replace it. You know, simple as that. Coolant leaks on this car, I mean, you just gotta fix it. It happens, especially with 69,000 miles or 70,000 miles now. So $200 for that. Rear diff fluid change, I did the rear diff fluid twice, so that's $30 each, so $60 total for 2 rear diff fluid changes. Again, did it myself. Very easy to do by yourself. Just buy the fluid and lift or get the rear up on ramps, and you can do this yourself. For a transmission, I also changed the transmission fluid on this car. I also have a video on that, so check it out if you want to change your transmission fluid on the ZF 8-speed automatic. I paid $240 total for all the parts needed, which was I think 6 quarts of ZF 8 lifeguard fluid, as well as the pan and filter, which is they're integrated or built into the same thing. $240 for a transmission fluid change. I think it's well worth it. I think you guys should do it too if you're up there in the mileage department. Lastly, for maintenance was an alignment. So after doing the spacers, or not the spacers, after installing the lowering springs or any kind of suspension of components for that matter, you want to do an alignment. So I paid $80 at a shop to have them align the car back to factory specs. And for repairs, really the only repair I can recall is that under my ownership at least was the supercharger bypass actuator. That cost $260 from an online Jaguar dealership, but it's normally like a $500 part. But you know, if you shop around, you can find a good deal on it. So $260 is what I paid for it, and I installed that myself. It's not too difficult because it's at the top of the engine, kind of near the where the inlet is or where the throttle body is. It's like above it, so you can install this part yourself if you have any issues or codes involving the supercharger bypass actuator. In total, that's all that's been done to the car. Let's come up with a big number for you guys, and I'll let you know once I add all this up. I haven't added it up yet, so give me a second. This is Rob, and he hangs out with us sometimes to help us make videos. Say hi, Rob. So I inputted all these numbers into the calculator, and we have spent $6,094 in total for maintaining and modifying this F-Type to make it where it is at right now. You mix that with $29,000 for the car itself. I mean, if you add taxes, and that would be about like $31,500 ish for in total for the car, plus $6,000, so that's $3,750. And you know, that's still under the price of a Jaguar F-Type V8, and you had done all the maintenance that you need to make it last, you know, all the way to 100,000 or 150,000 miles. You get to enjoy it, you get to personalize it. I don't regret, you know, spending this much money on the car. I think it was a fun journey to build it up to this and to share it with you guys, and you know, hopefully you guys find any of these videos helpful, and maybe find some kind of inspiration or ideas on what you want to do to your F-Type. And if you want to just wait for your warranty to end before you do any of these things, I understand. But I believe this still, you know, the car still looks great, still looks stock if you want it to be, while still being personalized to yourself, and I think it sounds awesome as well. So if you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I love reading everyone's comments, and I respond to everybody, and you know, if you have any ideas, let me know. But other than that, thanks for watching, and catch you guys on the next video. Take care.